everyone, welcome back to my channel, Truth Seeking with Veronica. That is me. A grand hope to you all. I hope everyone had a great week and you are enjoying your Friday. I wanted to come on today to do a part 2 to a video that I had made probably about a month or two ago, particularly when I first started the videos. Like I say, I am new to this channel, to this YouTube stuff. But I wanted to fill in a few gaps from that first video, words of encouragement. Okay? So, I want to talk to Yah's people, His chosen people, who look back now at decisions that you made and you beat yourself up, you know, what you should have, could have, would have done, or what opportunities you may have missed out on, or what education you may not have finished, or job promotions you may not have taken. I want to fill in the gap of the story in the first video concerning knowing that the Most High Hand was on my life. And the Most High Hand is on your life. Because I always tell individuals who are talking to me about what they could have done, or they didn't finish school, or you know, now they're working, you know, a dead-end job, or, you know, this and that. And I always tell them, hey, at that time, in that situation, you made the right decision. So don't go back and beat yourself up for your decisions. That's what I'm saying. So in my first video, I was talking about the one with words of encouragement. I was talking about the fact that I had finished all this education and it ended up not working out. The Most High said no. I mean, He had His hands on me and I didn't even know it. And so I'm going to tell that story. And I'm hoping that it is my testimony. And I'm hoping that it may help someone out there who can reflect back on some decisions you made and realize that it was the Most High the whole time. You were already His, and He knew where He wanted you. See, He's the author and the finisher. He knows. So I was in my 20s, my early 20s, and I had already had a child, and it was a rough experience as far as delivery goes. I believe I was in labor for 24 hours. They had to do an emergency C-section, and that's another story. Okay, so I'm not gonna go deep dive into that story. So some years later, well, before I will tell this part, that my doctor told me, don't do this anymore. You do not supposed to have children. Your womb is not set to carry a child. Okay, so that's another story. So I'm gonna go forward now, and I'm gonna talk about after I had my first child, and I dived into my career goals, my ambitions, and went to college, and started towards pre-med. So I enjoy, chemistry, biology, microbiology, genetics. I love being in the lab, and I just loved it. I love doing my anatomy and cutting things open and learning tissues and muscles and just everything. I just really enjoyed that. And when I think back, what inspired me with that is when I was in 5th grade, where I lived, they were busing children to other schools. More, I would say, let me see if I can get the right word for this. More advanced schools. And instead of me attending the school in my neighborhood, I had to get up earlier. Now, this is in the 70s. I had to get up earlier. I think I was in the 4th or 5th grade, and go to this other school to where my skin color was an anomaly in that school. Okay, so it was only a few of us. And at that young age, I recall they had us all in the cafeteria, and everyone in the cafeteria for a biology class. And like I say, this was like 4th or 5th grade, and they gave all of us a baby pig, and it was like a anatomy class. And so we were dissecting it, and they was teaching us different parts, the hearts, everything. The liver, they were just showing us, everything. It was a big screen up there, and the teacher was telling us where to cut, and that inspired me. So when rolling forward, that is what inspired me to go towards pre-med. And so I was pretty much like an academic. Even in high school, my 11th and 12th grade year, I had finished all my credits, so I went half a day and got in what they call DECA, where you can work the other half of the day. So I really did love learning and advancing myself, okay? And I'm pretty sure most of you can relate to that, okay? Because then that was the goal. Get your degree and get into a profession. Well, I was expired med school, so I had finished, I think I was like 23. I had finished all of my prereqs for medical school, and had a minor in chemistry. And like I said, I had a child, and I was told not to try again. And I got pregnant, and I was so excited. And I said, okay, I'm almost done with my pre-med classes, and I'm pregnant, and it seemed like everything was just right on time. And within 4 months, I had lost my child. And that's another story too. So I lost that child. So after my grieving, I went ahead and completed my pre-med courses. And there was an opportunity it was like an opportunity to apply for a stipend. I don't know if many of you know what a stipend is, but it's when you have to do, an essay, your GPA has to be on point, and it has to be, as far as where you're getting your stipend, toward that career goal. So I said, okay, well, this must be a sign that I need to just go ahead and go through with this, as far as toward my true educational and professional goals, which was to become a doctor, a medical doctor. So I went ahead and even though I was sad and grieving, I went ahead and did my essay and, did all the paperwork, and I was selected. I was shocked. I was selected to receive the stipend. Now, the stipend was for the summer. It was for the whole summer. And I was married, and so, and had a family. So the stipend covered the housing, and they gave you some money every week. Okay, so I didn't need the housing, so I used the monies for what I needed, and at the same time, driving there every day, which most other students were, single, young, and didn't have families, so they were there all the time. So this was a medical school that I had gotten accepted to as far as participating in the stipend. Now, this is the thing. When I got there and learned what this stipend was about and what we had to do, I felt overwhelmed. I was like, wow, am I going to be able to do this? So let me explain what this summer program, stipend summer program for pre-med students was. What they did for that full, I think it was, 2 months? Yeah, it was a 2-month stipend, so it was 8 weeks. Every week, you were actually taking medical school courses as if you are in medical school each week. It was like you probably they give you the books and everything, and you probably go through a whole book for that week, and you test on that subject, on those books, and you had to make a certain percentage, and it was usually like 70% and up, in order to pass and go to the next week, in order to be in appliance with the stipend. So you had to pass. And I was like, wow, I didn't know I was taking this on. And so, but I got to the point to where it was so fun, competitive, because I'm like, wow, I have to learn all this stuff that medical students are taking probably in one semester. We had to do it in probably a week. Some of the books they did 2 weeks, because it was so much, and then you take a test on it. Okay. And so my brain started operating to where, I saw it as fun. And plus, my peers that were in the class with me, it was fun. We learned a lot. We did a lot. I mean, we saw autopsies. We did a lot, okay? So, during, I think it was maybe the 5th week, I found out that I was pregnant again. I was full of joy. I was excited. I was like, oh wow, Most High has given me another chance, because I've always been the type, I wanted a whole lot of children. Okay, so I'm in I think my 4th week of this stipend program. And so, I'm pregnant and still going through these, studying when I get home, and through a whole half a book, maybe the half a week, and then the rest of the book, and then test on it. And so after I had gotten we had gotten to the next to the last week, because they didn't tell us everything that this stipend program was about. And I was just like, wow, I'm getting a heads up on med school. I mean, I'm learning everything that you're going to learn in med school, but it was a crash courses. That's what they call a crash course in everything. So when we had gotten to the last week, the director came in and let everyone know that if you have gotten to this stage and you have passed all of those crazy tests, that you can take the MCAT. So I'm thinking, oh, wow, I'm pregnant and I'm gonna get an opportunity to take the MCAT. I mean, look how this is just going to change my life, you know, because I was the first child in my family to even go to college. And so this was exciting to me. So I said, take the MCAT. You know, I've heard all the bad things concerning how hard the MCAT is. So that last week, you had to get through that, the stress of it. You had to make sure you passed that last test of whatever that course was. So I passed it. And so everyone that passed it, we were put in a room and we had to take the MCAT. That was so stressful. I did not think, it was so much. It was, you know, chemistry, biochem. It was everything. Microbiology, genetics. It was so much crammed in that MCAT test. And so I think it was the next 2 days, the director would call everyone in one at a time. And as I said, I was pregnant. So I think I found out that I was pregnant, but I had already been probably 2 or 3 months. So I did have, you know, my little belly show. So I went in because I was nervous. I was like, I didn't know if I passed this or not. Okay. And the director said, you passed the MCAT. He said, do you know what that means? I was like, what does that mean? Because I'm thinking we're just going through a summer stipend, you know, course. And he said that means that you are accepted to med school. I said, what? He said, yeah. Think on it. I see that you're with child and you're married, and just, you know, see when you want to start. I said, what, in med school? He said, yes, in med school. You have passed everything with the summer stipend. You passed the MCAT. Yes. So I'm excited. And I could tell that director was excited for me too. And so I went home. And at that time, you know, I'm telling my husband at that time that, hey, you know, I've been accepted to med school. And it all turned left. See, I married very young. I was very naive as far as marriage. I mean, all I thought of was do all I can, get 100%, have babies, take care of my children, have a career, take care of my husband, you know, at that time, do everything. But I was very naive because I was told that you can't go to med school. You're pregnant. And who's going to take care of the baby after you have it? So at that time, I was so disappointed. But I did have a family. And I was so excited about having another baby and not having any issues, because I went to the same doctor. My doctor delivered all my babies because he knew my circumstance. And I went back to that director and I told that director that I couldn't accepted. I couldn't go into med school. And he did say, well, this test does not expire. You passing it. So you have, I think it was a year or two to decide, afterward to go ahead and go. Then, and I thanked him, and I said, okay. So after that, I did go full term, and I had my son, my oldest son. And during that time, I was excited. I made the right decision, because that was a blessing from the Most High. And all through that time, that's the only thing that kept me grounded, knowing I have a child. And I made that right decision to not go to med school. But our human side would still beat us up to make us think it had to have been some way I could have balanced that out or made that work. But then when I think about it, I'm like, no, because you go through the 4 years of med school, then you have to do your residency, and that can be 24 hours you're at that place. And then that would kick me back into reality and say, no, you made the right decision. You picked your child. And I did. So, fast forward, knowing that the Most High had his hands on me, is when all that happened, I would say 25, 30 years later, with the mask, you know what I'm talking about, the 19 thing, and then it hit me. Because I started watching and seeing how many doctors were losing their license, coming under scrutiny, going before the board, because they wanted to alert people. They had a heart, they had empathy for people, so they were trying to warn people, on YouTube or on Facebook, wherever TikTok, whatever they were doing, they were trying to warn people about the mask thing, and I'm talking about, in the arm, and they was trying to warn people, and they were being, a lot of them lost their careers. And then that's when it dawned on me, the Most High was keeping me out of that field, out of being a medical doctor, because, and I thank him, and he gets all the glory, because I would have been one of those. Had all that hard work, being a medical doctor, probably had my practice and all that good stuff, and saw that come out and happen, and trying to alert the public on this and that, I would have lost it all. Because the Most High knows that when you have him in your heart, and you really have a high moral meter, you have morals and values that are high. You have empathy and sympathy for people. You don't want to see people hurt. You won't go with the okie doke. You won't just compromise your soul. Because that's what many were doing during that time. They were compromising their soul for the benefit of their career. And see, that would not have been me. I would have lost it all. And would have probably had so many different stresses that were just unnecessary. So the Most High kept me out of that field. I didn't even go back after I had the child. That was just, it was just like, that's not even an option. And I today don't even know why. I cannot remember why I made the decision not to even, after 2 years or a year ago, go in and go to med school. So what am I saying? The decisions you made was the Holy Spirit in you ordering your steps, directing your path. Because the Most High sees way ahead. And you are the Most High's child. That's your Heavenly Father. And He doesn't want you in any circumstance or predicament that may compromise who you are in Him. And I believe that, looking today, that is what the Father did for me. So think back on some things or job promotions, with certain companies that you had, and you didn't walk through that door. You decided, no, you're not going to take it. Now go back and see where that company is now. Yeah. The Most High had His hands on you. He has other plans for you. So that's pretty much all I want to say. That's part of Word of Encouragement Part 2. There is going to be probably Part 3 and 4, because there's a lot of doors and opportunities that open up to me that I didn't walk through, because I did not want to compromise my relationship with the Most High. So until next time, be blessed. I love you much.